You guys want to watch John Doyle? You gotta love him. My man looks like Mandark. It's really funny, the shape of his head. He even has the laugh too. Wait, no, take a look at this dude's head. Just look at this dude. Look at him. Look. He kind of looks like a beta to me. I feel like I could beat this guy up if we ever get into one-on-one fisticuff combat. Okay, and I had to go into the duel. I had to go into the octagon with any of these like right wingers. I'd be in there with John Doyle. I feel like I can knock his block off if we had to be in a fight. I don't know. Maybe he's one of the guys who thinks that black people, black men specifically, just have way more testosterone than white guys, so we could just like dominate them. So he's here. He made a video the other day. I don't think I've ever made a video on John Doyle or like gone over like one of his videos formally before. And he made a video a couple of days ago. It's a 31-minute video. We're not going to be watching all of it, but it's called "What Happens If Trump Loses," and his great series Heck Off Commie, where he talks about how cool capitalism is, while raking in money, ad money from poor people who watch his show, believing that they're just temporarily embarrassed millionaires as they struggle in their target job. It's a beautiful thing. Anyways, he's here to blackpill his audience. He can no longer deny the massive amount of trouble Trump is in, with him polling almost 11 points behind Biden, less than 2 weeks until the election comes.
Weeks away from what is quite literally the most important and consequential election in the history of our country. And I know that they say that every 4 years, but we'll go over why this time it's actually different. But what we're not going to do is focus on the specific, oh, well, this gun law is going to pass, or they're going to try to change this congressional procedure, because what's more important than that is actually analyzing the trends that, if allowed to continue and propagate, will result in all.
What's more important than policy is talking about the culture war and fear-mongering to my audience that they're going to be put in gulags if Joe Biden wins. That's what he's saying.
Because if we lose, here's what's going to happen.
Oh, here we go. Here's the important part of the video. I want to skip here, where he talks about what happens if Trump loses. All of this was just talking about a bunch of cringe. He was like, man, the 1950s were really good. Then we devolved. And then he did his ad read. And then he was like, man, I really wish we could beat our wives legally again. And now he's here to talk about what happens if Trump loses.
First thing that will happen is a totally manufactured and artificial period of reunification. This will be propagated by the same apparatuses that spent the last 5 years dividing the country and demonizing Donald Trump. We will be told that we can now move on as a country. We can come together and heal and make sure that something like Donald Trump never happens again. Sound
We'd love to do that. Yeah, it just sounds
familiar?
It does sound familiar, because that's a good thing that we should do.
Return of the never again, paving the way for the destruction of Americanism. These apparatuses will also elevate never Trump conservatives, so-called.
Wait, destroying Americanism? If Trump is down in the polls by 11 points, is that really destroying Americanism? Don't you think if a person can't win by getting the majority of the country, don't you think that Americanism would be like the person who gets the most amount of votes? Wouldn't that be the most American president, or at least the president that, you know, holds similar values to at least the most amount of American voters? Don't you think so? Don't you think it's weird that Trump is apparently the root of America, or like the soul of America, or what most Americans believe or something? Or like maybe he doesn't even believe that. Maybe he just believes that that's what good Americans believe, and it's just a part of the silent majority. He's just the talking part of the silent majority or something. It's just weird, you know? Don't you? But he lost by 3 million votes. 3 million more Americans didn't want Trump to be in office other than Hillary. And now maybe even 5, 6, 7, 8 million Americans could vote for a Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, or Dementia Joe, or whatever you want to call him. Maybe you could call him that, all right? But if he's getting 54% of the vote and Trump has never been able to reach 50% in a poll, I don't even think he's led in like a Trafalgar poll, or like held like a consistent steady lead in like a Trafalgar poll or a Rasmussen poll, like one of the most right-wing polls in the entire country. How can you sit here and say that he's the voice of America? It's ridiculous. It makes literally no sense, because it never is supposed to make sense. It never is. They're supposed to feel like they're the silent majority. And what they really are is the very loud and annoying minority of people fighting against the leftward movement of the country because they don't like it. I mean, you could not like it, and it's fine. But don't sit here and pretend that you're some sort of crazy voice of the people who are too scared to speak up because they all want to vote for Trump when it's never happened. Actually, also, actually, also, ever since the Republicans nominated Trump, all they've done is lose votes. They lost votes in the House. They lost votes in the Senate. I mean, not like as in they gained less seats because they gained more seats, but they lost an even greater amount, as in like more people came out for the Democrats and the Republicans than like since like Watergate, Watergate levels of movement. 2018, I think that was the biggest shift in the House since literally Watergate. Okay, so to sit here and say that the Republicans have been doing anything but like shooting holes in the bottom of their like sinking canoe is just ridiculous.
Principled conservatives to give the illusion of bipartisanship, to give the illusion of choice, so that the public is compelled to think, oh, okay, well, no, they're fine with conservatives. It was just President Trump that was bad. Okay, I guess they really were telling the truth. This is done not only to gatekeep the national dialogue and keep the Overton window of politics in the neoliberal consensus, but also as a psyop to ascribe legitimacy.
Wait a second. I have no clue how Trump would ever go against the neoliberal consensus. Trump's even tax bill gave most of its money to massive Fortune 500 corporations, and the taxes go back up to before the tax bill level in 2027 when Trump definitely wouldn't be in office anymore. It's ridiculous to sit here and say that Trump was anything but the most neoliberal corporatist president in like ever, because he is a neoliberal corporatist, because he's literally a corporate billionaire. Like, okay. Ever notice all the biggest blunders in American history are caused by Republicans? Yeah, it's wild. It's crazy. Tell this guy if you'll talk to him or not. Okay. What? Who? Krampus? Krampus, do you want to talk? If you want to talk, join the Discord. Trump, Bush, Watergate, Reaganomics, the Cold War, Union Busters. Oh, you can't forget Republicans are literally cartoon villains. They're cartoon villains, and they're bad at they ruin everything that they touch. There's a reason why businesses really like Democrats to be in office. If you can see, all right, when we get closer to the election, when Biden is polling up, the stock market goes up. When Biden's polling worse, the stock market goes down. This happens. This is a well documented trend. The economy just does better under Democrats because Democrats live in the real world, at the very least. Like, I don't like them. I don't like their policies. I don't like neoliberalism, but they live in the real world at least. They understand some things. Conservatives, they just don't. They just don't. They live in a fantasy reality, and it shows with their economics. I mean, even the Great Depression was caused by a Republican. That and the Great Recession was caused by a Republican. It's incredible.
To the media after 5 years of blatant lying and disinformation campaigns, and then simultaneously you'll see articles being published in conservative publications, some of which you're probably a fan, declaring Trumpism to be dead, and they'll echo the sentiment of the media. They're going to seek to return to true conservative principles like low taxes, small government, and the Second Amendment. For the time being, the left will allow it, but in the meantime.
So listen, while I think it's really true that a lot of conservatives are going to drop Trump like a fucking rock, because they know that all he's doing is sinking their re-election chances, which is just true. He is sinking their re-election chances. When people think about Trump, they don't want to vote for Republicans. They don't. Almost all of the Republicans that lich their like hates their re-election to Trump have lost or either doing worse in their re-election campaigns than they would have otherwise. Lindsey Graham, like the outward like attack dog for the Trump administration, is now either tied or losing to Jamie Harrison, the Democratic candidate for Senate in South Carolina. Okay, so don't sit here and tell me that Donald Trump is some sort of like great boon to the Republican Party. It just doesn't happen. It's just not true. Okay, it just isn't true. And there's still going to be Republicans who are going to call Trump like their king daddy god lord, because generally when it comes to Republicans, at the very least, Trump has a very high approval rating. Even now, where he's completely failed and fumbled on the coronavirus pandemic, he still has like a high 80s, low 90 approval rating with the Republicans, and they're starting to come back. I don't know. I think that Trump will leave office with like a 93% approval rating amongst Republicans. I think this will be true. So there are going to be Republicans who are going to fight with it and against it, and it's going to be a discombobulous mess, and it's going to be used against them for the next like couple decades. I think the fact that they even nominated Trump's 4 years in office, hopefully that's all he'll get, will be used against Republicans for a long time.
Meantime, Trumpism will be silently purged from social and mainstream media. The momentum of the war against Trump will be concentrated on his supporters, specifically his outspoken supporters with large platforms and influence. People who are affiliated with larger companies or organizations will be forced to quietly follow suit or be fired. Will be told that his trade policy was simultaneously disastrous and ineffective, that it was undiplomatic, that it was isolationist.
Yeah, it's all those things. Yeah, it's all those things. U.S. businesses have only been doing worse under Trump, except for maybe the auto industry and the Rust Belt. Those guys have been doing okay, but the steel industry has gotten absolutely obliterated. Farmers are still getting welfare checks. Farmers are still welfare queens in the Midwest because Trump's trade war with China. We basically lost it, and he's not even talking about it anymore because he doesn't want to bring it up how bad he lost that fight. It's really funny, actually. To think that anyone's going to say that Trump's economic, foreign policy escapades have been anything but disasters for American consumers and workers.
It's outdated. It hurt the GDP. We'll be told basically the same thing with his foreign policy, that he's the reason those regions were destabilized, that we have to maintain a presence in the forever wars, that our post-war imperative is to engage in wars for liberalism, to enforce democracy at the barrel of a gun. How does that make sense? Doesn't have to.
Cringe. No, Trump did help destabilize the region. I mean, remember the Kurds? I mean, he's just a failure. He's a failure on every single front. He's just bad. This isn't even me like politically talking. I can understand if Trump has ever done anything good. I think generally wanting to take making moves to take forces out of the Middle East is generally good. When he pulled troops out from helping the Kurds was one of the worst political moves I think he's done. Right there next to bombing a foreign official on Allied territory. Almost caused people forget. Like before COVID hit, we were talking about World War III. Do you forget about that? Back when everyone was memeing about World War III, that was because of Trump. If you forgot, it was a big thing. People were talking about what was it? It was World War III. Then it was like COVID, when COVID was just starting, and no one really took it too seriously, and we still had like 10,000 cases, like early like February or whatever, or like late January, early February. Remember like that little timeline at the beginning of the year where people were memeing about what was it? It ramped up in seriousness. It was really weird. We were memeing about Area 51. There was that big, remember Area 51? That was the beginning of the year. Okay, that was January. Area 51. Then it was World War III when Trump like almost got into war with Iran. Okay, and then it was COVID, and now we're here. Like, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous. No, people were talking about World War III. That was the thing. World War III memes were great. They were kind of based. They were pretty funny. Not gonna lie.
And with immigration, we will be told that it was a racist overreaction to a non-problem, that it hurt the economy and the GDP, that in order to heal as a nation, we will have to overcorrect and put an even stronger emphasis on diversity being our greatest strength, and that we can look forward together as a country, whatever that means at this point. And
diversity bad. More non-white people bad. It bad. How dare non-white people try to come to this country and work? Grr. I don't know, dude. Yeah, I don't know if this is just dog whistling or what, but I don't know. These people really hate immigration in a really weird, wonky way, huh?
And be excited at our future of wars for liberalism and open borders with immigration and trade, both of which displace American jobs and workers. And if you speak out against this future, you will be censored.
It's really interesting. He totally forgot about like the progressive left. Like the massive gains the progressive left has been making. I mean, the progressive left honestly has completely overshadowed the Tea Party. What's the Tea Party been up to recently? Besides making the Republican Party lose more votes, you know. What have they been up to? And he totally forgot about them. The people, us pushing for less wars. You forgot about that. He thinks that I don't know. All of us are just like neoliberals. I don't know. It's weird.
You will be fired, and about 10 years from now, you will be charged with hate speech. And as of right now, the public disagrees with all of this. They agree with Trump, and they have consistently for decades. But the ruling...
See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, he's doing the fascist thing, where he's the silent majority, but they're just not speaking out. But they also apparently don't vote either, and they never will. They don't vote. That's why he's part of the silent majority, and America agrees with Trump, even though Trump didn't win the popular vote in 2016 and won't in 2020 and probably may not even win the election.
Class says, no, don't believe your eyes. Don't trust your instincts. Listen to us, the experts who live in gated communities. We need the forever wars. We need 1 billion Americans. Why? To compete with China, who's actually only beating us literally because of the post-war neoliberal consensus. And we need to drain wealth.
What does that mean? China's beating us because of the post-war liberal consensus. China's beating us because they have a command economy. China's beating us because they don't have to care about what the will of the people, whatever you think it is. That why China's beating us because they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, that benefits their economy and their country, and they don't have to care about what any Chinese person thinks because they don't have elections. They don't vote. Xi Jinping is the dictator. What he says goes, and his Communist Party does what they want. And what they're doing is maximizing Chinese infrastructure. They're maximizing Chinese outreach. They're maximizing Chinese influence over the UN. That's what they're doing. Okay, they're like beating us because they don't have to care what their people think. They don't. And China right now is even starting to plateau. China's starting to plateau, if you didn't know that. China's now losing business to more developing parts of the world. They're losing as their standards of living increase, as those things increase. They're starting to lose labor. They're starting to lose the capitalist game of getting the cheapest labor at the most efficient point to like places like Africa, because Africa's developing really hard. Places like the Middle East, because they're rebuilding. Other places, Southeast Asia, they're losing a lot of capital there and labor there. Their jobs are starting to get outsourced. That's what I mean. China's beating us mostly because they could do whatever they want whenever they want it. That's why. They say China's beating us because the Chinese government says jump and the people say how high, or if they don't listen, they end up in jail. Like, okay. China not only has a command economy, they also have literal slave labor. Labor doesn't get much cheaper than free. USS slave labor, they do, but not on the same scale. Sad.
From our country into China. Why? To compete with them. Who's with me? USA, USA. And that's just it. Trump didn't win because of socialism. Trump won because of trade, immigration, and foreign policy. And if we are to have a future, we have to focus on...
Trump won because people didn't like Hillary Clinton. That's literally it. People just really didn't like Hillary Clinton, and that's why Trump won. She also didn't campaign on the Rust Belt. That's why Trump won. Because Hillary Clinton had so much hubris. She thought she was going to win. She rested on her laurels. She didn't try to talk to the people whose vote that she needed. She just thought that she'd get them because she's Clinton. And then she lost. And then she surprised Pikachu face. Wow, the states that I didn't visit in 2 months didn't vote for me. Incredible. Who could have seen this coming? Apparently not Clinton.
On those issues the most, get into power, and then fight fire with fire and crush these people into the ground, because you cannot convince nor argue with that which seeks to destroy. These people are not...
What are you talking about? Seek to destroy? I mean, I do want to destroy conservatism. It bad. But that's nothing to do with me wanting to seek and destroy what? I don't know what else he's talking about. I do want to destroy conservatism. It's bad, especially American conservatism. Holy crap, you guys are far right compared to any other country. I love this idea how this guy he'll like hold up Western civilization, even though no other majority white Western civilization would ever vote for a candidate like Trump. It just wouldn't happen. Like, if Trump ever even got into office, Parliament would hold a no confidence vote, and he like the instant he got into office, Trump would have like a 19% approval rating. Parliament would hold a vote of no confidence, and his government would be booted from power faster than he could finish the word China. It's incredible. Libs molding, yeah, libs in shambles right now. This guy is a sicko. What's going on? Are you American? Did he just advocate for crushing us because we want a better world? Yes. Yes, he did. Yes.
Seeking to create. So your option is only to destroy them first. What we're fighting against doesn't care.
Whoa, now, chill out, bud. Whoa, now, all this I hate political violence, and you should too.
Care about you or your family or your country. They're actively trying to destroy all of them, and they love nothing more than to hear.
This is the sort of fear mongering I'm talking about. This is the sort of stochastic terrorism that I'm talking about. They're trying to destroy you. They're trying to destroy your family. They're trying to destroy your country. These people talk as if we're in the middle of a civil war, and then surprise Pikachu face when people act like it. When people take up arms and try to kidnap a governor. When people take up arms and then shoot up their local Walmart or BLM protest, huh? And then they disavow it. All of their arguments always come down to pushing people to do this. This is stochastic terrorism that he's engaging in right now. This is what it is. What can I say?
Here you say, well, I won't fight back because I'm actually better than that, because they probably paid someone to put that idea in your head in the first place.
What are you talking about? Why are conservatives always so prone to conspiracy? Why do they love the conspiracy so much? It's so weird. Someone paid to put that idea in your head. Like, oh God. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. Weirdo.
You can't reason with fire. You can contain it for a period, but ultimately you will have to extinguish it, or it will destroy everything. That's where we're at, and it's only going to get worse. The economy will continue to be fake and rigged. Remember the wealth transfer during the pandemic? Right under our nose? Remember when literally hundreds of thousands of businesses were forced to close by the government, the majority of which will never reopen?
Small businesses used to define America's economy. The pandemic could change that forever. Damn. It's almost like the Trump administration's complete inaction to give aid to small businesses has completely failed the American people and has undermined our economy and completely eroded what little we have of the backbone of the American economy that we have left. Man, who would have seen it coming? Who would have seen it coming? Extinguish it. What you saying there, John? Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Backbone, but world still run fine without them? Are you talking about small business? Yikes. Imagine advocating against small businesses. That's peak cringe.
They're out of business, countless livelihoods destroyed, but the people at the top who buy and pay for the people to make those decisions made more than $500 billion. That is...
He's a Nosball! Hey, buddy, he made it! John Doyle on his Nosball train. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey. Oh, gosh. What was that? Anyways, say, Jack, you want to know how... You want to know a good way? A good way to understand how a lot of those businesses made their money? Say, Jack. You want to talk about Trump's 2017 tax bill? you want to talk about that? The massive tax breaks he gave to billionaires and, Fortune 500 companies? You want to talk about that? The entire time he spent his presidency cutting regulations for big businesses so they can continue to farm more money. The entire time that he spent his entire life and political career trying to make it so big businesses could scrape more money off of the backs and the paychecks of hardworking Americans as they failed to be able to even put food on the table. 26 million Americans failed to put food on the table. 70% of households live paycheck to paycheck. Most Americans can't pay for a $200 emergency. 40 million Americans now risk being evicted. What has Trump done? What has he done? What legislation has he pushed for? Genuine question. Remember how Trump didn't even want a new stimulus bill to even go to small businesses? Pelosi put in funding for local and state and municipal governments so they can get more money, so they can help with the erosion of small businesses that may not ever come back. And Trump completely shot that down in his drug-induced stupor, drooling his way through a Twitter post, Twitter legislation. Remember how he did that? Shot that complete bill down and said he only wanted a $1,200 check for Americans. He only wanted the $1.8 billion bill. How he completely shot down the very reasonable $2 trillion bill that Democrats wanted to push through to help small businesses. And he wanted no money to go to small businesses. I remember that. Remember how Republican leadership, Mitch McConnell, just shot down that even that measly $1.8 trillion bill to even get money to those people? It's almost like if you really, really care about these problems, you're not voting for the right side, buddy. But what overcomes a lot of that is the Browns getting into the country. The immigration, we can have these BLO, these uppity blacks getting too many rights, how dare, BLM do things. Heck off, commie. Yeah, I need to heck off. I'm getting, yeah, this commie's getting a little too spicy. I need to heck off.
Probably the greatest offense against the American people that we will ever see in our lifetimes. And it really all comes down to money. And unfortunately, no one ever got rich shilling for the interests of the American people. What a grave sin it is with these politicians, these pundits, to selfishly.
Well, I mean, Bernie, I'm not sure if he's rich, but he did he spent his entire career shilling for the American people. And then he wrote a book, and then he had two really good political campaigns for as far left as he is. I'll call those political campaigns really well. Post Red Scare America, I'll call those really well campaigns, honestly. Almost winning the election twice. I mean, come on now. You gotta give him credit where credit is due in a post Red Scare America. I mean, he has a nice house, and I hope that he enjoys the rest of his life with his family. I'm not sure if I'd call him rich, but you know, politicians get paid a decent amount, especially senators. So I don't know. It's not that you have too many rights, it's that you want to take away other people's rights. Wait. Yes, I forgot about taking away the right of people to be racist. That great right enshrined in the Constitution. I forgot about that one. Also, the bulk of stimulus went to the rich. Oh yeah, 100%.
Monetize the hope of the public to make millions promising to advocate for and represent them, only to do nothing but occupy space and pad their own pockets. Yeah, have fun while you can. Damn,
sounds like Donald Trump, who spent his entire political campaign trying to funnel money into his businesses. Remember how he takes all foreign leaders to, how he basically implicitly asked foreign leaders to stay in his Mar-a-Lago, my bad, his Washington hotel, how he brings foreign leaders to go do business with him at Mar-a-Lago, and they spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, this guy literally doing everything he possibly can while in his administration, trying to line his own pockets and funnel US dollars to his businesses. This guy, he sound like he's exactly describing Donald J. Trump, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He doesn't see it.
Ken, you're gonna get yeeted into a lake of hellfire, my guy. It really is a great strategy. Like, you tell the left, everything is the fault of business. So then they're elected. They collaborate with big business to regulate small business into the ground.
What am I listening to? Wait, I gotta hear that one more time.
Shark, Pog, and
the zero on Elite. The zero on Elite. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for joining the frenzy. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You thought you were the guy in the video? Wait, you thought I was the guy in the video? Oh, my bad. Hey, buddy. I'm here. Look. Ooh. I'm not in the video. I'm sorry, bud. I'm talking to you directly. I'm here for you. Thank God. Yeah, dude. You know John Doyle doesn't have black people on unless we're one of the good ones. I need to hear that one more time.
Your own pockets. Yeah, have fun while you can. You're gonna get yeeted into a lake of hellfire, my guy. It really is a great strategy. Like, you tell the left, everything is the fault of business. So then they're elected. They collaborate with big business to regulate small business into the ground. And then you tell the right that businesses are actually the good guys against the bad guy, which is government. And then you get donations to conservative groups from big business so that everyone is too busy screaming, well, socialism sucks, to realize that they're actually being screwed.
What the fuck am I listening to? What is this cracked out? What is this cracked out like idea that he has in his head? Wait a second. I actually have to write this down. Wait, I need to write this down. Wait, where's my, I need a notepad. I need a new text document. Okay. I need a new one. Cause I cannot fathom following what this guy just said. So he's like oh my gosh. Wait, one more time. This is insane. What I'm listening to. What I'm listening to right now. We're gonna turn it like to regular speed, and I actually want to write this down.
Collaborate with. Is a great strategy. Like, you tell the left, everything is the fault of business. So then they're elected. They collaborate with big business to regulate small business into the ground.
Wait, okay, left. Biz bad. Then left elected. Okay. Then work with big biz to run the small biz down. Okay, I have never seen leftist agitators working for Jeff Bezos, but maybe that's just me.
And then you tell the right that businesses are actually the good guys against.
And Then tell right that Biz is good guys. What is he gonna say against bad guys?
The bad guy, which is government.
Yeah. What? That.
And then you get donations to conservative groups from big business so that everyone is too busy screaming, well, socialism sucks, to realize that they're actually being screwed over. So that's basically the trend with the economy.
Hot take: America isn't real. Hot take: America doesn't have a left. Yeah, not really. Wait, so I wrote some of this down. So I want you to like run through this with me for like 1 second, because this is ridiculous. Okay, so he's saying the left. So here's what happens. Okay, so here's what the left does in America. They say business is bad. Okay, so that I mean, very super duper reductionist take. I mean, sure, I'll accept it. Okay, coming from someone from Doyle, I don't expect much more. Business bad. All right, then they get elected. Then they work with big business to run small business down. What? When has this ever happened? When have like leftist or progressive protesters or whatever, or I don't know, worked with like Sony or Amazon or Apple to run big business into the ground? The left loves small business. What are you talking about? Small businesses? They love small businesses. Everyone talks against big businesses on the left. When has this ever happened? And then they tell the right that business is actually a good guy against the bad guy, and the bad guy is the government. Unhinged. Unhinged. John Doyle is unhinged. Isn't he saying that the left like worships the government, and the left like wants the government to take control, and socialism is when John Doyle's understanding of socialism is literally, socialism is when the government does stuff, and when it does a real lot of stuff, that's communism. That's unironically his understanding of what socialism is. And so this guy, now he's saying that the left thinks that government is bad, and the left is working with big business when they say that business is actually bad. But when they say that business is actually bad, they mean small business, and they love big business, and they think that the government is bad, but they also worship the government because they love socialism, and socialism is when the government does things. Unhinged. 122,000 views, 12,000 likes. These people cannot be argued with. They are unhinged.
And that ties into everything else that's going to happen, and so we'll come back to that. But with immigration...
And as you see, a very clear and understandable description of how the world works. Yeah, that's how our economy works. back to regularly scheduled programming. Who is this guy, dude? This guy's wild.
Biden has already promised amnesty for illegal aliens. We've been told for years.
I love this. He's getting onto the immigration part. I love this one.
Years that there's only 11 million, but a Yale study suggests that it's actually 22 million. It's probably even higher. And with 20 million new Americans now eligible to bring over family members because of chain migration, that really ends up looking like 40 or 50 million new Americans.
Whoa now, buddy. Did you see that? He puts the air quotes around Americans. What's air quotes around American? If you want to come to America and you make it to America and you become American citizen, you're an American. There's no air quote around American. Would you put air quote around the American of the Irish people who came here, the Jewish people who came here, Russian Jewish people who came here, the Polish people who came here, the German people who came here? Would you put air quotes around those Americans? What do you mean? What makes them bad Americans or unreal Americans? I mean, you forget, okay? These conservatives, they're not American. As in, like, the realistic sort of what we want America to be. Through the Constitution, through like the founding fathers, and like the Statue of Liberty, and how you could just come here, shining city on a hill, where no matter what your background is, no matter where you come from, no matter how many dollars you have in your pocket, okay, you can come here with nothing but the clothes on your back, and you can make it in America. That's what America's supposed to be about. And he's sitting here talking about, putting air quotes around people who risk their lives, their families, their livelihood, everything that they know to pick up everything and move to this country to make a better life for themselves. And he's putting air quotes around them being American. They're no more American than me or you, buddy. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Okay. And I think in the spirit of American, they are American, even if they don't have citizenship. he doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I can theorize why he doesn't like these sorts of Americans. I think you know what I'd say. Why he really doesn't like these types of Americans. But this could play to a lot of things. Anything really, from them just being poor and dirty. Maybe he believes what Tucker Carlson believes. They come to the country and they make the country poorer, dirtier, and more divided. Maybe that's what he thinks. Maybe he thinks maybe the color of their skin. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he just doesn't like the way they come here. Maybe he just doesn't like the way they smell. Who knows? I don't know. But it's stupid no matter what it is.
That's all.
So how much can the government do before it becomes socialism? The only option anarchy. When the government starts doing things that conservatives don't like, that's when it becomes socialism. When the conservatives enact laws, that means the government can literally crawl into your house and tell you what you can and can't do with your partner, as in gay marriage, or like crawl into like their doctor's office and tell you what medical procedures you can and can't get. That's not socialism, even though that's a massive encroachment on your personal and private grounds. That's not socialism. But when we start giving help to poor people, that's socialism. That's when socialism occurs.
On the first term. So what happens then? Texas goes blue. Florida goes blue. Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, those are cemented as blue, along with Virginia, Georgia, probably North Carolina.
I love it.
Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Best case scenario, those are all now blue.
I want to hear that again.
Really
I love this song.
Like 40 or 50 million new Americans. That's all on the first term. So what happens then?
Hit me with it.
Texas goes blue. Florida goes blue. Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, those are cemented as blue, along with Virginia, Georgia, probably North Carolina too. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Best case scenario, those are all
tasty. Ooh. I love it. That's beautiful. Amazing. Okay. After decades of Republican just like destruction of our way of life. Okay. Over our basic way of life. After all of this, after court packing and Merrick Garland and all of this, all of the things that they've done, all the demonizing and stochastic terrorism that they've engaged in, after all of this, okay, if 50 million new Americans come to this country and they hate the Republican Party just as much as I do, and they don't vote for it, and that means that these usually reliably or even swing states now are cemented as blue happens, I'm sorry, you suck. You're garbage. I say poo-poo garbo, but I learned a new term, doo-doo ass, okay? If you are a Republican and you can't win over the deathly Catholic group of people that are Hispanic, Latin American, South American, Central American voters who come here, you are doo-doo ass. You are garbage, okay? You're just bad, all right? You can't make it. You don't deserve their votes. You don't deserve their votes because you're terribly racist and you work against their interest with every single move that you make, and you're putting air quotes around them being American coming here. Maybe they don't want to vote for you. Maybe they don't want to vote for the party that puts air quotes around their Americanism and puts it into question. You know, maybe they don't want to vote for that party. Crazy, huh? Who'd have thunk it? Is this the new Drake song? I wouldn't doubt it. It sounds like the Tootsie Slide. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love this. I love this beat. When Texas goes blue, I am gonna just shoot ropes. All right. I cannot possibly tell you how much cum I'm going to just drop. All right. I will reach into another dimension, the cum dimension, and just fill an entire swimming pool full of it, an Olympic swimming pool. Okay, it'll be incredible. I'll be so happy because that means another Republican will have absolutely no possibility of winning the presidency in the next, maybe in my entire lifetime, and that'd be amazing. That's exactly what they deserve after all that they've done over the last 50 years to this country, maybe even more. My abla is racist and religious as shit, and she won't vote for Trump. Yeah, because Trump is even more, because racists hate it when people are racist to them. That's why. Even Mexicans who come here are kind of like really shitty to like Mexicans who come like after them. I know this for a fact. I have a good amount of Mexican friends. They're like older Mexican family, or very not nice to them at all. Especially newer Mexicans who come here, not nice at all.
Now blue forever, which means best case scenario electorally, Republicans pick up 157 electoral votes in a presidential election, not even taking into account how the distribution of votes would change with the new Americans, plus the fact that they'd be in charge of the 2020 census. So Republicans will never win the presidency again. We'll probably never have control of the House or Senate again. Even if we did, they just veto anything that we pass because
amazing.
They don't have to play ball with us anymore.
Great, amazing. The Republican Party is far right. It is far right by any definition, by any developed nation, by any, like, if you go to Finland, if you go to Britain, okay, if you go to Switzerland, if you go to France, if you go to Germany, if you go to any of these, if you go to Canada, just go across the border. If you go to Mexico, you go to any of these countries around us, okay, and you try to tell them that they vote in someone like Trump or the Republicans, you'd be laughed at. You'd get 1% of the vote. It'd be hilarious, okay. In no other place does the Republicans' dog shit fly but here, all right? And it's eaten as a delicacy.
They've already won. So as a result, the Republican Party would either just die or morph into a much more progressive version of itself, which would allow the current Democrat Party to continue to shift the paradigm of American politics to them being
left. Holy crap. Don Doyle, how'd you do it? He figured it out. He done figured it out. Forcing the Republicans to either lose or shift left? Sign me up, buddy. Hey, man, can you imagine the Republican Party if it's just the Democratic Party from 2008? Garbage, doo-doo ass, poo-poo garbo. But it'd be far better than what we have now.
Being democratic socialists, and then us being left with a much more liberal version of the GOP, probably something akin to the 2008 or 2012 Democrat Party, and there's nothing you can do about it. You didn't vote for this.
Good. I hope there's nothing we can do about it. Wait, can we take like 1 second? Let's hop on like 270 to win real quick, and let's look at what he was talking about earlier. Can I like reset this map? Yeah, whatever, doesn't matter. Like let's reset the map real quick. So he was talking about blue, all right, Florida blue, Georgia blue, what, Georgia blue, New Mexico reliably blue. These are like I call like New Mexico the Sun Belt here. Well, the Sun Belt that includes like California, New Mexico, and Nevada. This part of the Sun Belt is blue. Like that'd be blue. Nevada would always be blue. Arizona would always be blue. Amazing. North Carolina would be blue. What he said, he was talking about Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota all already reliably blue. And then we'll mark these over. The state of Maine would be blue, and then I think this one's blue and this one is red. Regularly. Whew. Man, ain't that beautiful? Look at that map. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, someone put it on a picture for me, so I can look at this all day. I get wet dreams about an election that looks like this. Man, would this be amazing? I can't wait. It's pretty. It is really pretty, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing. Make it a painting? Maybe, dude. Put that on a mural. Take down that garbage Mona Lisa and put that up there. This belongs in the Louvre. If this was every election cycle, man, would it be so good? Don't threaten me with a good time, Doyle. Don't do it, okay? Well, it's already hard enough to be a political person in this landscape, especially progressive. It's real hard. All right? Don't fill me with such hope. Also, what's up, Nico Chan? It's so nice to see you, bud. Thank you so much for coming back. How you doing?
Not in 1965 with Hart-Celler, not in 1992 with Bush Sr. In fact, the public has consistently wanted less immigration, but who cares? Never in
Holy shit. This dude's rolling out literal Nazi talking points. Wait a second.
Something akin to the 2008 or 2012 Democrat Party, and there's nothing you can do about it. You didn't vote for this. Not in 1965 with Hart-Celler, not in 1990.
No! John Doyle ripping out Nick Fuentes talking points. As you see, the will of the people was completely subverted in the 1965 Hart-Celler Act, when the evil establishment decided to overthrow the will of the people and force millions of immigrants into the country, invading our lands, eating our food, raping our women, and giving us tacos. When no one voted for this. Wait a second. He's literally rolling out like a neo-Nazi talking point. It's incredible how close these guys are. They are a hop, skip, and a jump to literally being Nazis. It's incredible. So if you haven't heard of this before, the Hart-Celler Act is the act that in 1965 that basically made it so that we abolished our like country quotas. So before 1965, America had quotas on how many people could come from what country. So we had a quota on how many Chinese people could come, how many Mexican people could come in citizenship per year. That's what it was. Okay. So in the Hart-Celler Act proposed that we get rid of it, basically, and that's what it is. Malarkey. It is malarkey. You're right. So they just said, hey, let's just get rid of it. This is cringe. Let's not do it anymore. Okay? And he's saying the will of the people was subverted. The people didn't want this. Well, what actually happened? Well, what actually happened is the majority of people, when they're asked, the majority of people said that they didn't care. I believe. If it's either they like the idea of removing limits on how many people could come per country, or they didn't care. It was one of those two. And then after that was either they didn't care or they were for it. And then the lowest one was they were against the Hart-Celler Act. So when asked, when they had to pick a position, most people either didn't care or were for the Hart-Celler Act or didn't like it. So what these guys do, neo-Nazis do, Nick Fuentes specifically, if you guys ever watched Nick Fuentes debate with Destiny, this is what he pulled up. He's like, as you can see, like half the people said that they didn't care. I'm putting that in the no column, which makes literally no sense. Like, imagine you're sitting there, right? And you don't care about what pizza, well, let's say you're sitting there at a party or whatever. I know none of us get out and none of us have friends or anything, and that's why we're here watching a politics stream instead of like actually hanging out with real people. So just imagine you have I love you all. I really do. For being here with me. Don't you listen? It's a joke, okay? It's a joke, okay? Imagine you're at a party and you guys are gonna order pizza, and like there's 10 people there, and 4 of them say they want cheese, and 2 of them say they want pineapple, and what was that, 6? And the other 4 say that they don't care. All right? Would you say that? Those people who say that they don't want, who say that they don't care what pizza you order, you'll put that into the pineapple column just because? No, they don't care. So then let's go with the most amount of people who did care, right? Which would be the cheese pizza. Fuck the pineapple pizza. People. Just like the Americans. People who like pineapple on pizza. People. No, that makes literally no sense. Why would you do that? That's ridiculous. So that's what he's doing here. Find one. They're like, ugh, I don't feel like spending all time looking for one. But I do know the majority of people didn't really care that much, or like a big plurality of people didn't really care. So it's not like the will of the people was subverted. It's not like 90% of Americans didn't want the Hart-Celler Act to pass, but then it passed anyways. That didn't happen.
92 with Bush Sr. In fact, the public has consistently wanted less immigration, but who cares? Never in the history of the world.
That's just not true. Most people didn't care.
Has there been such a large migration of people as the one that we've experienced from Latin America to the United States since 1965?
Damn, we shouldn't have fucked up Latin America so bad then. Can you imagine? Why are these people coming to America? Why would they want to if their countries were fine? Maybe all of the intervention and regime change wars that we spent the last decade waging in Latin America has something to do with their material conditions now and why they want to come here. You think about that? Yeah. You think Doyle's ever spent some time thinking about like they're, toppling governments just for fun? The whole where Banana Republic came from, literally overthrowing governments so they can use slave labor to get more bananas to feed our banana craze. You ever think about that? He doesn't think about that. I know he doesn't give a shit because he doesn't care about when brown people's countries get hurt. He doesn't care about what America does to foreign nations. He doesn't care. Why would he care? He's John Doyle. Heck off, commie.
Talking 60 million people. How do you assimilate 60 million people? You don't, and you can't.
They seem to assimilate it perfectly fine. I don't know, sometimes I'm at work and someone with a deep Hispanic accent comes and they're like, food. And I'm like, okay. It works perfectly fine. It works pretty okay. I mean, they may not always have the best English, but their kids definitely have really good English. They seem to be assimilating quite fine. I have some second generation Mexican friends, and they speak Spanish and English fluently. If they never spoke Spanish, that you probably wouldn't tell that that they're second generation. They seem to be integrating perfectly fine, and they integrate right fine. They integrate so well, in fact, that the more generations that people from Latin America who come here, their crime rate increases, so they can finally meet the same amount of crime that Americans commit. They are integrating perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's offensive that you even asked that. And they're doing this because it's their end game. That's how they win. And so at that point, there's no such thing as America anymore. The only thing that would suggest otherwise.
Holy shit! Wait, what does? Whoa, now, buddy. Whoa, now, buddy. People immigrating to America makes it not America. People immigrating to America made America America. Weirdo.
National parks, and the flag looks relatively the same, but who knows how long that's going to last. For all intents and purposes, America is gone at that point. The culture's gone, the language is gone, the history and the heritage are gone, the economy's dead.
You know what I was thinking about earlier when he was rapping about the progressive wet dream, or like the left wing wet dream of all those states going blue. You know what he forgot? DC becoming a state, Guam and Puerto Rico becoming a state. He forgot about that. He totally forgot about that. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine 6 more reliably Democratic senators in the Senate? Because Guam, or maybe even 8, like Guam, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and DC all become states, and then they all get 2 senators. Whew, would that be tasty? I'm slapping it up. That is delicious right there. Republicans would literally never control the Senate again. Never control the Senate again, which is great. If you want pineapple on your pizza, you're a degenerate. Listen, okay? I have some family members who like pineapple on pizza. I love them to death. They're my family, okay? It's just cringe. It's bad. It ain't good. Around.
All intents and purposes, America is gone at that point. The culture's gone, the language is gone, the history and the heritage are...
What culture? Like, can you guys think about American culture? What is American culture? What is it? Like, because the culture in like Delaware and Alabama are drastically different. Probably even more different than countries in like Central America. Like Vickis won't like this, but the culture difference between LA and like Birmingham, Alabama are probably more different than the culture between like Brazil and Argentina. I mean, come on. Like, if you think these two types of people live similar lives, you are deluding yourself.
They're gone. The economy's dead, bought and sold by a transnational ruling class, and all we're left to do...
Well, just stop the transnationalism. Stop transnationalism. Start transitioning.
...was byproducts. And at that point, you're going to get everything. You're going to get hate speech laws. Your guns are going to get taken from you. And if you think that you're going to fight back, okay, they'll kill you. They don't care. It's what they wanted to do anyways.
Look at all this fear mongering. Crazy fear. They want to kill you anyways. Wow.
There's no skin off their back. And don't think that you can just hide off somewhere in the woods and try to keep to yourself. People have tried that before. I wouldn't know anything about that, but think early 1990s. And that was even before mass surveillance. You're also going to have to pay reparations as a part of this period of healing and celebration of diversity. And this isn't all happening overnight, by the way.
Dude, everyone pays taxes, so everyone pays reparations. He acts like they're going to round up. Look at all this white people fear mongering. He's like they're going to round up white people and then force them to pay reparations. It's incredible. After reaching a population equal to that of the least populated state of the established states, it would be admitted equal footing with all other states based on the majority of the vote in Congress. Oh, sick. So we just have to, what's it, Wyoming? It's like Wyoming or like Vermont. Least populated state, Wyoming. Least populated state in the United States following Vermont and Alaska. Alaska has literally 0 people in it. California accounts for 12% of the US population. Amazing. California, Texas, and New York account for 1/3 of the US. That's crazy. That's wild. 1/3 of the people who live in the United States live in either California, Texas, or New York. Wow. Wonky. Also, thank you so much, Nico.
But you will see all of this in your lifetime if the trends continue. And with the increased collusion between big business, big tech, and the government will come even more surveillance. Think social credit scores in China. Oh, you have the wrong opinions? Cool. Now you can't open up a bank account. Now you can't travel. You can't rent a car anymore. Oh, you can forget about protecting.
Remind you, okay, let me remind you where we started on this, okay? Because some people may have been here, like come through in and out, who haven't been here when we started. This is John Doyle hypothesizing what life would be like under the regime after Donald Trump loses, if Donald Trump loses the election. This is him fear-mongering and hypothesizing what life would be like after Donald Trump loses. This is unhinged rambling by a madman. He needs to seek help and stop. This is just fear-mongering at this point. I'm not even sure if we should really watch more of this. We really got most that we could have out of this. This is really, really bad. I'd say this like comes up on advocating for people to you tell people that they're in war and you feel surprised. You act surprised when they act like they are. This is not surprising. This is what these people do. And it's really unfortunate that this is how they want to treat people. And they're just taking the most sad, scared, worried, uneducated people and feeding them nonsense until they religiously watch their videos and wait for the end of days to come. It's really sad. It's really, really sad what they're doing to these people.